Excuse me, good afternoon YouTube. Well, here we are again. So, looking at the comments, it seems you want another American pocket watch to be dismantled. You'd probably be bored with Elgin's, so we've decided to go with the little Waltham. Little Waltham Traveller. As you can see, the balance is moving. I kind of think this is just, as I've explained to you before, just a dirty watch. If you look at it in there and around there, it just looks proper grubby. Probably been sitting around for a while. Like I say, the case doesn't close properly. Do you remember we discussed, you know, if they're opened properly, the case should only go to there, but it's proper. Even better still, you can see it's in such a poor shape, the pins just fall out. It's badly worn, all the gold is worn off, we're back down to the brass. Big crack right through the dial, got a hand missing, so basically it would be described, I suppose, as best as a parts watch, but I think there's a little bit of room left in it, to be fair to it. I think, you know, we can make this into a nice movement, and then at a later date we'll look out for a good case, some nice hands, and it will live again. It will live again. So first things first, we're just going to decase this. I'm going to do a quick clean. I'll show you what I would do with a quick clean to see what happens. If it runs with a quick clean, brilliant. We know we've got some chance of a success. If it doesn't, then we'll strip and we'll get right into it. So, some good goggles on. Let's pop off this outer case. But this is the bit where the bezel would fit. This is the bezel where the your crystal would fit your glass. We need to flip it over, open it up. We've discussed before about case screws. This isn't one of my favourite ones because it's got the half screws, which I don't really like. There we go. So now the movement should, if we pull out the crown, click, it should, a little bit of pressure, there we go, that should drop out. Shame about that, but that case has had some long life in it. So there we go, boink boink, boink boink. Right, so what I do, just for a bit of speed really, but what I tend to do, what's happened to that? You know, you put stuff away, you think, oh no, I know where that is. I had a little paintbrush. No way. In fact, I had more than one. Well, why was it there? So, I'm just going to take this off because we need a bit more room. Now, this is my little cleaning pot, and as you can see, if it's good enough to stop mobbling about, there's plenty of rubbish in here already. You know, it's dirty. This is pure brake fluid. Brake cleaner that you can get in a car spare shop. You know, if I was repairing 10 grand Rolexes, I'd probably buy the right stuff. But as we're not, we're never likely to, I might add. What I do is I get some brake cleaner. Now, interestingly on this watch, I don't know if you can see around there, there's a steel band, and that is a dust cover for the workings. So we're just going to pop that off now, if we can. Let's go from the other side. They've usually got a little dent in them. Ah, that could be it. And there you see that little dent, there'll be a little hole under there, and that will line up with the hole so that it kind of keeps it in position. Oh Lord, it's a bit too rough that. So again, remember I told you about your butchery screwdrivers for doing your twisting, your pushing and your pulling. That's what these are good for. Just work it around. Why won't this come off? There you go. There's another one there. So there we go. So take off the dust cover. Now, I know, pop off the hands, or in this case just the hand. Again, I'd normally protect the dial, but as you can see, the dial's already past its sell-by date. Quite a long way, I would have thought. So we'll just pop off the hand. There it goes. Now somewhere, as we know, around the dial, there'll be little screws. Yeah, it's missing, isn't it? Yeah. So again, a good dial, you'd be very gentle with this part, because where those feet are, that line up into those holes, they can still get a little bit stuck after the screws are out, and too much leverage on them doesn't take much, and you get damage all around there. It's even got a little bit starting now. So we'll get that out of the way. We'll take off the washer, one little washer. We won't bother to clean that. That was the second hand. The hour hand. Yeah, we pop that in. So, I think that's all the parts that are likely to fall off. So what we do now, now where does that screw come from? Has that been stopping it, do you think? Because that wasn't there when we started. And that's not a face screw because it's got chamfer on it. Face screws are flat. So we'll get hot. I'm going to drop that in the pot. Okay. So that's the other wheel for the minute. Right, here we go. You're going to love this. I'll try and pick this up because I don't want it to fall straight in. There we go. So there you can see the movement in the brake cleaner. Pure, cheap and cheerful brake cleaner. I just like to agitate it around a bit. I agitate it. Stop doing that, I don't like you anymore. Well, it's not kind of agitated it wanted really. But there you go. So again, I just try and get in some of the... Hello, we move in there. Did you see that? Now you've still got to be careful around here, even though this is a fairly soft little artist brush, because the hair... Well, Lordy, have a look. See, I've had this happen before. It only takes the slightest little bit of dirt, bit of dust where the case has been open, These are so fragile and so fine workings. The slightest little bit of dust, and when you consider we dropped it out the case, it had fallen out the case, it had been knocked and pushed and banged around. But again, the oil's in the where the, it's not a very good pointer, is it? The oil in the pivots, that can all dry out over time. Even the one in the centre there, the one behind that one there for the escape wheel, and then further in there the pallet wheel, the oil dries out on the pivots. That's why it's not good to try and force some of these watches to try and start, because they don't like it, to be fair. They if the oil has gone really poor, it's dried up on the excuse me, if it's dried up on the pivots, forcing it to start, you can sometimes break a pivot off because they are quite fragile. So we know that we've got half a chance. Now again, because this fluid is very dirty, I'm just going to let this one have a little run in that dirty fluid. It's a strong running watch, because don't forget, that is running in fluid. That's right up there, that fluid. You know? So that's a strong running watch. Again, the hairsprings, they get oily, they stick. And that brake cleaner is, in my opinion, oh, what do I know? I'm an amateur. The horologists are probably screaming into their coffee cups and crying. I've done it for quite a while and never ever had a problem. That's not to say there won't be a problem. And as I always remind you, don't try this at home. I don't know what I'm doing. Right, what we need to do now is get this out. So you might see a big lump on my head in a minute, because I want to get hold of the right part. There we go. See? Drip, drip, drip. There we go. So I can leave those bits in there, because what I do, I'll strip this now, put all the parts in the dirty cleaning fluid, give it a wash in dirty cleaning fluid, take it out, dry it, sort of dry it, let it have a bit of a breather. I'll change the fluid, the cleaning fluid, and then I'll wash it off again. So we seem to have a bit of power in this watch still, so we're going to have to relieve the power, because I don't know how much power there is in it, and trying to take it apart with power in it's not a good thing. So I'm just going to come down and have a quick look at it, look around. Don't forget, you've got to try and remember where all this goes. So we'll start off, I think, with the case screws. As I say, not my, oh, you can't see that, can you? Not my favourite half cut case screws. I just don't get it. Because when you're putting them in the case and you're putting them back, sometimes, you know, you've got to really push the dial and the watch into its into the case, and I just think you can do damage like that. But again, I am not a professional. What do I know? So now what we have to do is turn this just a bit, and then, you know, let my head don't get in the way, push the click back like that, and gently let this unwind. So keeping your pressure on with your finger, gently let it unwind. And if you get sort of a bit stuck, that's really loose. Look how loose that is. Wow, my. Again, just push the click back. Are we out? Yeah, we're out of. That's it. So now the pressure's off of that. having said the pressure's off, that doesn't look good, does it? Why is that loose? Just going to check that before we go any further with it. It will stop running now. There's no power there. That's tight. Let's just have a look at it from the side profile. That's the wrong screw. Now why has someone put the wrong screw in that? I don't know if you can see from the profile there. That is the wrong screw. There's plenty of gap underneath that. Can you see that? That's no good. Wrong screw. So, get a decent screwdriver. Get the right size is always a starting point. So, we'll have that one out. These are usually reverse thread, so to loosen it you turn it the wrong way to what you would expect to do it to loosen it. So that came was a bit of a surprise. Nice. I'm going to put that in the centre of my tray because that screw in the centre of my tray, that's wrong. Most definitely wrong. Most definitely squire. Nice wheel. That's interesting. There's a little dent in that. It's my cleaning gear. Put that in there. Let's get down and have a look at that. Do you remember we had a dodgy screw that came from nowhere? I bet you that that little dodgy screw has fallen out of that little hole there. Now that's a strange setup, I have to add. That is a very strange setup. Oh, come out. Come out, come out, come out. Really? We're going to be here for 2 days trying to get this out? Oh, come on. And then it jumps out. So we'll pop that in the cleaning fluid. Blink. We'll take off the click. There. Put that in the cleaning fluid. Pink. Hello, we're off again. You can't run, my old dear, because you've got no power left in you. So that falls into there. Good. In the cleaning fluid. Alright, what I'm going to do, very carefully, is I am going to take off the balance cock and the balance wheel. The whole kit and caboodle all in one go. David, I know what you're saying. You're thinking, are you mad? Doing that without a safety net? You must be crazy. So again, what I tend to use are a pair of tweezers that have got a slightly wider opening than the others, and I try and catch the balance and the balance cock all in one go. And gently lift them out like that. You gotta be careful, and I never wash these with any other parts. That'll be washed totally separately than the rest. Right, what should we do next? Let's have off the bridge. So let's get it where you can see it. So the bridge for the train wheels, that's coming out next. I'll get the screwdriver going now. Click, that's it. So again, when you're doing this sort of caper, just have a look at the screws that you're taking out. If we look at the ones for the, where did that go anyway? The ones for the bridges are different type tops to that one. That one is more shiny, and that's from the balance cock. And these ones, the workers, a bit bigger headed. So you can sort of look at them and go, oh yeah, that's going to be a screw for the bridges. So what I do is I keep them all together. Off the bridge. Again, always try if possible to lift straight up. You don't want to be pulling because of the wheels are, you know, not very clean, does it? So we pop that in the fluid. Chink. Again, it'll be nice enough to come out. We'll take out the train of wheels. You know, I should have done this differently. But if I do it properly, you'll get bored. Because you're all sitting there on the edge of your seats, waiting for it to go boing. Something to go flying somewhere, never to be found again. I know you only watch this because you're like Formula 1 racing people. You only watch it for the crashes. So canyon pinion, usually really difficult to get off, but that was all right. So we'll wash that. Bing. Turn it over, that one should drop out. Again, I'll wash those separately because they're a bit more delicate. What we got here, this is the bridge for the pallet fork. That screwdriver is going to be way too big, so we'll try that one. That's too big, I think. That's better. Click. Hello. And another one. Again, oh, don't lose it. Come away, come away, come away. It's a funny shaped little bridge, isn't it? Hold that in the cleaner. Again, try and lift up straight. The little pallet fork. Lovely, lovely. bridge now for the main barrel. So this is where your main barrel sits. You can see the screws, big kind of head, just good old fashioned. Hello, I'm stuck. That's the barrel bridge. Let's just drop that in there. Oh, I just noticed on this wheel. I don't know if you can see, I just noticed that. Can you see? Let's turn it around a bit. Why is that like that? See if we can get it in the focus somehow. Excuse fingers. There's a great big grind mark. There you go. You might just be able to see that. But just there, there's a great big grind mark through the wheel. I thought it was a shadow at first, but it's not. Something's been rubbing on that. When you look at it like that, can you see that? I wonder if that screw has been rubbing on that for a long while. Who knows? Maybe that's why it was broken. There's your barrel. Don't try this at home, kids. Let's move that out of the way for a minute. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You know what that means, don't you? Don't try this without a safety net. Oh, this is going to go boing, I'm sure. Oh. There you go, there's your mainspring. That little, I don't like touching these. I can just see this going everywhere. Right, don't know if you can see in there, that little gap where my tweezers are going through eventually. Well, that's the hook for the barrel. That's the cannon pin, well that's the pinion for it. And these are peculiar because normally that hook, there's usually a hook on this part that hooks into there. But on this one, I think this is what they call a safety barrel. It actually hooks onto that. See that little hook part there? So that's where that all hooks into. So we'll put them to one side. That's a complicated old setup for what really does absolutely nothing. Do you know? Excuse fingers again. I bet there's another screw missing out of this watch. I'm wondering if someone's had this apart before. Either lost the screws or damaged them, because do you remember on the barrel it had the wrong screw in it? Yeah, I think this poor old watch has seen some vast amounts of unhappiness, I think. Bigger tweezers, wider gap, minor gap. Okay. So. Now, does that slide out? Yeah, that. I don't know if that kind of does something for the setting. You see that move then? I think, yeah, that kind of works on the setting when you're setting the watch for winding or for doing the time. So let's see what's under this one. Oh. Careful. that over there. Now that is bad news. Yeah. I don't know if you can see it. But can you see that spring? Do you know what that spring's going to do? That spring's going to make my life a misery because it's going to fly off, never to be found again. I'm too old for that. So what we're going to do is try and lift it up. See that? That wanted to go. Believe me, that had plenty of plans. That had plans to disappear. Oh boy. And that's a strange setup, isn't it? I better put this back together before so I can see which way it goes. How did that go? I think it went like that. Did it go like that? Yeah, before the spring decided to go flying. Right, so, okay. Yeah, I think I've got that. Do I need to take that screw out? Well, let's do it. It can only end badly once. That's the wrong size. It can only go. Did I just? Uh-oh. Another screwdriver needs looking at. So now what happens with this bit? Yeah, you know it, don't you? Get ready to see me cry. That's going to fly. One of those nasty things. That's going to fly. God, what size is that? There we go. Well, that's a peculiar piece of equipment. Come back where we can see you. Uh-oh. Right, okay. How does that go together? Stay still. So that's one. How many parts are there to this thing? Man, that's a crazy setup, isn't it? When you think there's only about 3 pieces on on an Elgin. Now, so there we go. So that's all the heavy duty parts having a wash. We'll let them have a wash for about 20 minutes. Then I'll give them a quick rub over with a little paintbrush. Have that, I say to it. Then I'll change places with it for those bits. Then I'll put fresh fluid in to the tub. Then I'll wash these bits because they're more delicate, and then I'll take them out, change those bits into it, and then we'll start part 2 of the rebuild. Part 2 might not be for a couple of days, but if I get time I'll do it sooner. So there you go, the Waltham Traveller pocket watch. Let's just have a quick look at that before we go. You see how mucky it looks in there? You know, all this grinding and nastiness. You know, not pleasant, is it? Yeah, what can you do? Let's pop this one in as well. there you go. I'll do these separate because there's lots of oil in them and it makes everything cloudy. So next time